Kabasic, a real good friend of mine, and he assumed that the whole thing was completely organized by an outside group, that, you know, that the committee had got an outside group and had done everything. I said, no, basically just the disposal and the collection was, everything else was our guys, and he was astounded.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's amazing what a great group of people can do. So it's awesome. Oh, you're muted, Barry. Sorry, bud. I saw the lips moving. There you go.
You're a good wrangler. You're a good people wrangler.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello, Garn. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Let's see if I can get my. All right, I'm going to see if I can share my screen somehow, maybe. Hi, everybody. I'm trying to figure out how to get myself.
How do I get this thing off?
I'm working on it. Give me a second. Yeah, I did something and I didn't want to do it. So.
But you did it anyway.
I did.
Well, there you all are anyway. We don't care about that. How are you?
All good.
Good. Let me see if I can get rid of this.
Don't get so technical, Linda. That thing, you know.
Well, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
Now that I'm officially retired, my vocabulary has shrunk.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant. Thanks.
All right. Let's. Oh,
You're
come
among
on.
friends.
I'm good with it, people, you know.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Oh, I know. Somehow I've got to figure out how to get myself back to stop the screen sharing. Oh my goodness. Oh, here we go. Stop share. It's right there.
It was making me thirsty.
Woo! Was it? Yeah. Sorry about that.
There we go.
All right. Let's see what we got going on here.
Hi, Rana.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Team,
Hey, guys.
the crew.
Hello.
My mom still has your card up on her door.
I'm glad.
Announcing
I'm
to
glad
the
it worked out. I'm happy you said something.
Just.
Hi, Lori. Hi. Okay. Now we're right at 2 o'clock. Let's give it a few more seconds. Kathy North is in Arizona. She will not be joining us. I know.
Wow.
It's warm. It's warm there.
Warm here.
I think Kelly Roche, I thought she was on vacation still. I'm not sure. Michael Elam, it still looks like you're having trouble connecting to audio. You
That's
might want.
Tracy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, Tracy. Tracy's having trouble connecting to audio. You might want to pop out and come back in again. Let me see if I can do anything from my allow to record. I'll put in waiting. Nope. Rename. Nope. I don't know how to help her. So, and she's got her video turned off, so we can't see her smiling face. Hi, Mark. All right, let's see. I'm checking everybody off. I see Jim's there as well. So that's Tracy. All right, because I did such a marvelous job of sharing my screen before, I'm not going to do it again. So I'm assuming that everybody has a copy of their agenda, I hope. Because if I try to share my screen, I'm gonna make Barry
Let's not do
thirsty.
that again. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make Barry thirsty. That would not be good. All right, so I'll listen for ding dings to see if anybody else joins us. We've got Jim as a guest, so that's our guest. And here's something. All right, with that, I'm just going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And I think last time I explained to you all with Zoom protocol now, when I call the roll, if you can say here and then where you're located. So city, county, state. And it's just for the record that we're supposed to do this. So with this, I'll call the meeting to order and I'll call the roll. Linda Escott.
Here, Saugatuck, Allegan, what's the third one?
Michigan.
Michigan. Well, I
There
didn't
you
know
go.
if it was state or country, so I was like, okay.
Yeah. All right. Barry Johnson.
Here, city of Saugatuck, Allegan County, Michigan.
All right. Very good. Kelly is not with us. No. All right. Rana Alexander.
I'm here, Douglas, Allegan County, Michigan.
I know
It's harder than it appears, actually.
Yeah. All right. Kathy's in Arizona. Demetria Tarian.
Sure. Here, city of Douglas, Allegan County in Michigan.
All right. Very good. Let me see who we've got. All right. Tracy's iPad. Okay. I'm admitting her. All right. If Tracy is here, hi, Tracy. I'm going to come back to you in a hot second. All right. Daniel DeFranco.
Here, Saugatuck Township, Allegan County, Michigan.
Very good. Patrick, this will be fun.
Hampton City, Virginia.
There you go.
They don't have a county, it's their own county.
Okay, very good. Mark.
Hi, Mark Epstein, Saugatuck Township, Allegan, Michigan.
All right, and Lori.
Here, Saugatuck Township, Allegan County, Michigan.
All right, now go back to Tracy. Tracy, we're doing roll, so you just say here and where you're at, your city, your town, your county, and your state.
Muted.
Oh, she's muted, hon. Sorry.
I'm actually sitting outside of Seattle watching my 15-month-old grandson, but normally I live in Douglas and own property in Saugatuck and have been in the community for about 35 years.
All right, very good. And welcome, Tracy. This is your first official meeting with us. Woohoo!
Thanks. Sorry to be late.
No, it's all good. I saw you were having a little bit of trouble with your audio. It didn't seem to be connecting, so all good. And then last for roll, Garnet Lewis, City of Saugatuck, Allegan County, Michigan. So we're all here and accounted for. Kathy's in Arizona and Kelly's on vacation somewhere, and I didn't ask her where. And we have Jim Yost as our guest. So hi, Jim. All right. After our eventful May, late April and early May, rather than trying to do a special guest and a speaker, I just really wanted us to spend some time together as a committee. Certainly in Tracy's case, probably bring her up to speed, but to really do a good debrief, if you will, on events and stuff. So before I get to that, this is the opportunity for the public to make any comment they would like. And since Jim, you're the one public person, is there anything that you would like to say?
I will yield my time.
Okay. Very good. All right. With that, you all should have received a copy of the minutes from the April 14th meeting. Kathy has been wonderful about transcribing these from our recordings. So next time you see her, give her a big thanks. So yes, Barry.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of April 14th, 2021 as presented.
All right, very good.
I'll second that.
All right, was that Demetria?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Any comments, questions, etc. for the minutes from the 14th of April?
Very well done.
She does a good job with everything else she's got going on. All right, with that then, I'll call roll. Let's see, Barry. You gotta vote yes or no.
Yes.
Demetria.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Rana.
Yes.
Tracy. I see a yes. I saw a yes.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
And Lori.
Yes.
And Garn. Yes. All right. Very good. Okay. Now we can go on. With the copy of the agenda, I'm just going to assume you all approve of it unless you tell me otherwise. So I have a few things that I've added on the bottom, which will probably make sense if you had time to read the draft summary report that I sent you yesterday. So first, under unfinished business, because I wanted to be inclusive as I possibly could, I also included the backyard composting workshop. So with that, I might open it up with Jim. Kelly's not here. Jim and Kelly were the big organizers of that. Any comments, questions, feedback, kudos, etc. for backyard composting? Go ahead, Barry, you're on mute, bud.
I gotta say, it was just a fantastic presentation, well organized. Thanks for letting us use your parking area. And it just, I knew a little bit about it. I know a lot more about it now. I'm not sure I'll be a home composter, but certainly want to help moving in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Anybody else? Feel free. Linda, go for it.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go that day, but I talked to some people who did go. Some were more knowledgeable about composting than others, and all came out of there really, really pleased with having spent the time there.
Yeah.
So kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was well attended, and the weather held for us, and a very good event.
Yeah. Very good.
It was a wonderful, interesting experience, and if we could only find a way to get lots more people.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be interesting to a lot more people.
I agree. Go ahead. Yep. Others, feel free. Go ahead, Rana.
Of course, a big shout out to Jim. I thought you did a really good job, certainly without a microphone and with everybody spaced so far apart. I thought that you really did a great job keeping it top level, but then also kind of diving into different opportunities for people to do. I love that you brought your son into it. That was great. And there was a level of joy surrounding the entire thing. I just wanted to say thank you very much for taking the time to do it. And I'm hoping that the next event will be even more well attended. Should we have another one this year or something like that? So thank you very, very much for your time and your effort putting it all together. Appreciate it.
Very good. Anybody else for the good of the order? Lori. There you go, Lori.
It occurs to me that if we want to get more people, that maybe during some event around Saugatuck, when there's a lot of people wandering around, we could have a little tabling event, or at the farmer's market, if there is a farmer's market, which I haven't really caught on or not, but that there might be tabling opportunities where we might reach more people. I don't know.
Yep. All good. Anybody else?
I just wondered, did you get any pictures posted on Facebook for anybody creating one?
Jim, did you? I don't know. Did you get any, Jim? You might as well just open
I haven't checked in on it, to be honest. I did post a picture of what I'm doing, but I'm not much of a Facebook person, so I haven't really checked back in.
Yeah, and I haven't noticed. Daniel, have you noticed? I didn't see.
No, I just saw Jim's initial photos, and I don't know if anyone has commented. After
Actually, now that I think about it, I think there was a second person, and I can't remember if I followed up with that person or not, but I do think someone else, there's probably one person eligible for the card.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, maybe next time you guys are posting, you can just put something else out there saying we've got a couple people that have created that backyard compost, and don't forget that there is a drawing at the end of the month or first week of June if we want to extend it to that to see if we can get some other people.
Otherwise, the odds are really good.
Yeah.
I think Kelly took photos.
She did. She posted them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she posted of the event. I don't know if she did of her own composting in her backyard.
For those of you who don't know, at the event, we offered up for anybody who creates their own backyard compost to please take a picture of it, upload it to Facebook, and there would be a drawing from all of the people who have done it. And then there was a gift card to Isabel's for the winner.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show my screen. You may not be able to see it. You probably won't because I'm so technically savvy. Ronna had shared this with me. This is how excited I was about this backyard composting thing. Now, mind you, I live in a condo. So Vicky, when I said there, I want one of these little compost things for my kitchen, she just looked at me like, where are you going to put it? I'm like, no, look, it's this itty bitty little thing. It's a turn your waste to compost with a single button, a little Lomi. And Ronna had shared that with me as a connection. So if you think about it, Ronna, I want to share it with the committee.
I'll send a link out.
It's a lovely little thing. So,
Oh, cool.
which got me all excited. So me in a condo, if I can do it in the condo, anybody can do it.
A 2-minute overview. So my phone case is made of recycled materials, and it's by a company called Pila. I've always called it Pela, but okay, it's Pila evidently because that's what the owner said on the video. And they have come up with a like a countertop versions where you can put all your food scraps, and if you don't want super usable soil, then you can, or I wouldn't call it soil, but it basically breaks it down to 80% of its size in I think 4 hours. Is that right? 2 or 4 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
And if you want usable soil, it will take longer. You can put compostable silverware in there. You can take the case that they make and stick it in there. And essentially, I mean, I think it's a great size for like a 2-person household. For a family. Brian was joking about it. My husband, he was joking about it because he said, well, we would be running it 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But luckily we have a neighbor who we share a compost bin with. Tracy.
I wonder who that might be.
Yes. Anyway, so it is cool. I'll send you guys all a link.
All right,
Great.
cool. Yeah, it's like a little composter on steroids. It's pretty awesome. So I think,
Lauren, I have a quick question, and
Yeah.
this is as a newbie and thinking about how to spread the word on backyard composting.
Mhm.
Does I think one of the best ways, and I think probably everybody on this call knows this, is to get people involved, is to get their kids involved.
Yeah.
Is there an active program currently at the Douglas Elementary School? And if so, are there any wonderful families who are doing it and might be willing to jump in? As someone said, I can't remember who, or Lori, about about being at the farmer's market and doing a demo. It might be a wonderful, Cub Scout badge, or whoever's doing that kind of stuff these days, as a way to get other families and other children involved. I think people are much more disposed to speak to children trying to do something at a farmer's market than a bunch of old people. So there you go.
That's a great idea. Jim, I'm going to let you respond as far as the school. What's going on with school kids?
Kelly and I, and as well as a few other parents, did form a green team at Douglas Elementary, and my son and I put together a virtual lesson on composting and sent it off to the school. As far as I know, nothing became of that. At one point, we did have permission from the PTO to fund compost hauling from the school so that we could divert waste from the landfill, but then COVID came. To be perfectly honest, I've taken on quite a bit recently with wormies, and I'm not sure what's going to look like next year. I probably will be working full time and not in the schools very much like I had planned. Things are blowing up at wormies, lots of popularity suddenly. So it looks like I'm gonna be running my own site here eventually. So my involvement with the school is probably going to decline, actually.
So, but Kelly's still involved, right?
As far as I know, Kelly plans to still be involved. Yes.
Yeah. So I think, Tracy, to answer that part of your question, I think Kelly will be our in on that as soon as, COVID really kind of put a squadoosh to everything, but our Michigan numbers are looking better and better every day. So I imagine, by the time the school year starts in the fall, we're looking to be in a better position. The farmers market is going to happen this year at the SCA. They're actually starting, I think they believe they start Memorial Weekend. They're going to, of course, be every Friday through the end of September. But then from what I believe, and I hope I'm right on this, from Memorial to Labor Day, they're actually adding a Tuesday market as well. So there's an opportunity to do something there. The Boy Scout or Girl Scout badge idea is a great idea. Barry, you waved your hand. I don't know if you have a connection with the Boy Scouts. Yes, sir.
I'm the committee chairman for 31 years for our charter organization.
There you go.
I've been involved since my son was 6 years old. And so I am charter organizer over both the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts. There is Girl Scouts are girls are allowed in the scouting movement now, but because of some obvious reasons, they have to have their separate troop. Hard to mix up those young kids, you know. And so we haven't got a girls troop in the community yet. There is one up in Holland that one of my Scoutmaster's daughter is in that one. You know, Girl Scouts has come and gone in Saugatuck. It's hard to keep that one moving. As far as the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts, I will definitely look into that. It would be you know, a potential merit badge. I'll look into that. So I'll report back on that.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Tracy. Thank you for that. So,
Thank
all
you,
right.
Kate.
But
There's a June 4th SCA launching on their outside activities.
oh yeah,
Summer kickoff, and I know that the library has a table there, and it might be that'd be a good way to start with a table.
oh. Anybody know anything about that? Boy, you'd think I'd know it. No, nobody. I'll have to ask Kristen. I'll ask Kristen about that. June 4th, SCA. It's with the patio and everything.
That's the kickoff.
There's music and.
Music and.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Stay tuned. We'll find something out about that. Very cool. All right. So, you know, as far as, you know, it's interesting. I've always had you know, coming out of student life in the university setting, I always had an interesting thought about participation and attendance. Because I had, you know, a lot of my student staff would agonize that there weren't, you know, we could have had so many more people. I'm like, no. If you're offering a quality program and the people who come enjoy it, they will share. And the next time you do it, you'll get more. And so for me, looking at this event, I was absolutely delighted. It was the first actual physical in-person event that we've had as a committee. I was thrilled. It was fantastic to see so many people. It was great to see people in person. So, you know, not only that, but just, you know, we're all kind of in COVID, you know, syndrome, whatever. We don't know how to act with one another, but it was wonderful to see so many people participating. So, you know, I will take it as a good plus for us. The word is spreading as far as what we're up to, and certainly now segueing into the Household Hazardous Waste Day. I mean, the word's out. So, so with that, I'm gonna segue into Household Hazardous Waste, the day. We can talk about all the good stuff first, and then maybe talk about what we can do differently next time. But just go around the horn, and any comments or observations from the day that you'd like to share. And okay, I saw Linda first and then Barry. How's that?
Perfect.
I talked to a number of, you know, people as I was standing there that I knew, and everybody that I saw coming through line, it didn't matter. They didn't wait very long, but it just didn't matter. You know, the weather held out and everybody's mood in their cars was jovial and happy, and it's about time we did this again. You know, it was just a really nice, and the people working there, it was just a really nice atmosphere.
Yeah. Barry, go for it, bud.
You know, my big takeaway is I actually got to meet some of you people face to face, mask to mask. I talked to Demetria, Daniel, figured out I did know him. Rana, I don't know if I talked to Patrick or not. Mark, I did. Mark and I were still kind of down at the same end of the thing. And I was shuttling styrofoams. I was at the end. I saw the Rotary guys getting just about every car that went through got some kind of change in the bucket. Everybody participated. And again, nobody was, by the time they got to me, they were at the end of the run. There was no frustration, no anger, no nothing. Just again, like Linda said, jovial. happy. It's just such a proactive thing in our community and a chance for me to meet most of you. And that was good for me. Thanks.
Great. Go for it, Lori. I see you.
I was over at Blue Star and Old Algon Road, and nobody even looked at us. They kind of glanced, what the heck are these people doing? So I'm kind of thinking that either if we're going to do this regularly, just get a sign that we can put at that corner to have an arrow going, and that's two fewer people, at least at that intersection. I'm not sure if anyone else saw anybody else at other intersections, but I think, signs, looks like Mark had, you were at an intersection, right?
Yeah, her name is Pia, and I were on, is it Hoffman? Or Maple?
Maple.
Yeah. And people stopped with, a couple people said, "What are you doing?" One person said, "Is there a bike race or a running race today?" We said, "No, it's recycling hazardous waste recycling collection day." And to your point, it would be great to have a sign that says "this way" with a big arrow so that people know how to go. I mean, had it been a nastier day where we had rain, I certainly wouldn't have liked to have stood out there in the rain, even with an umbrella. So a sign would be great to have.
Sure.
And it would also catch the eye of some people that weren't aware whatsoever that this was going on. They may have turned around, gone home, and got some stuff and came back.
Right.
So
Right.
Having a sign would be great.
Got it. All right. Very good.
I was at the intersection there at, I don't even know, North and,
Allegan or Blue Star?
no,
Oh, yeah.
North and,
Maple.
is it?
There you go.
And so, and there were some other people up at the Blue Star. And I actually had one individual who really needed directions, but I had about 12 people either ask for simple directions or what's going on. And I kind of thought that having a presence of individuals there with our yellow vests on was a kind of a statement of the community involvement for the program. And, the making a sign, is just kind of making more trash, so to speak. So I kind of like the idea of individuals manning the corners.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah, I wouldn't do away with the people. I would have both though.
Okay.
Get somebody's eye and having somebody there to answer questions.
Yeah.
And talk up the event certainly is helpful.
Okay. All right. Other on the positives.
I'll throw something out. I felt like above and beyond the good job that we were doing with the volunteers, I thought that was amazing how many people turned out. I thought that Drug and Lab did an outstanding job. Like, I could not say enough about their efficiency and how much work that was on their end. And they just kind of did it. And they were super pleasant. They were super efficient. And I thought that was an amazing job that they did. So on their behalf, I was very impressed. And because I've never been part of one, I did not expect rolling out the barrels the way that they did. And then just the whole process, it was really interesting. And I was so impressed with them. And as far as a sense of community, I cannot say how relieved I was and delighted that all three municipalities came together. I just thought it was such a special time, COVID or not. It's like, I don't know, I still don't know what was going on for the last however long that there was this trouble between the cities, but it felt like this moment where, like, let's keep this going. Like, it just felt so positive. It was good to see people. It was still distanced enough where people were not uncomfortable, but I was like, I really felt amazing about it. I felt like
We were one.
felt lighted. Yeah.
We're one.
Yeah. One. Yep.
It was
Mark,
cool.
Mark, I see your hand up. Thank you, Ronna.
Yeah, I have a suggestion. If I don't know if this is the right time for it, but I'll anyway. I noticed, excuse me, that there was a point where when things were getting backed up a little bit, the people from the recycle company, if you will, would walk down the line and unload the cars. But then that it didn't necessarily speed things up because the cars in front of them may not have been finished, so people had to wait. There wasn't anybody complaining, but I think if we were then to put a petition, cones in the lane to allow cars that are finished to go around on the left-hand side away from their table so that they could leave when they were done, and that would help people behind them move up. And then as the cars in front of them finished, they could then exit. And ultimately, both lanes would have to go past the Rotary people before they left, so that Rotary wouldn't lose out on an opportunity to collect from either of those two lanes.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
I have one other thing to add.
Yeah. And then I see you, Barry. Yeah.
I thought it was super efficient that, so we had those flyer packs that we were putting together and then they were given to each of the cars. But what I did not expect to have happen, that did happen, I don't know who initiated that, so if someone was there when it happened, please say so, was the part about when you get to the end of the line, Rotary will be standing there, because what that gave people time to do is find their money. It also took all the pressure off of Ryan, because he had a super uncomfortable post to be standing there to ask, like, hi, you know, it was totally taken care of. So I thought that, I don't know how that evolved, but it was really an amazing, whoever initiated that was a really cool thing.
Yeah. Does anybody know who started that? I know Kelly was down there, and I know that
it was a great idea.
Bob and Louise, Kenny, there was a crew down there that was like, it's your lucky day. You get a free coupon for free coffee. And oh, by the way, do you remember, Daniel, who was it that started that?
Stacey Aldrich was down there too.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of people down there because I kept changing people out.
Yeah.
But however it started, it's a definite must for the next time when we do it, because it really was. Do you know how much they raised?
Yeah, Jim told me, I think it was $1,330. He was delighted. He's like,
Nice.
yeah, I thought maybe we would get enough to cover the cost of our little brochure getting printed. So he's like, oh my God, he was raving about it today at the Rotary lunch. So
Awesome.
I was expecting more based on the fact that there were some 20s and 100s going into the bucket. So
yeah, people are so generous. Barry, I saw your hand up.
yeah, but go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I would just following up on what Rana was saying about people having their money ready. I had made a comment to Rana that day when I saw people coming up and I looked in the car, I noticed everybody had their wallets on the console. And I thought, I wondered, or money on the console. And then she mentioned that, well, they're being, coached at the beginning of the line here that they're going to be asked for donation. I said, oh, okay, then that's why. I just felt it was funny that people had money sitting there, ready to go. But it was great that they did.
Yeah. And then, Daniel and I know Daniel knows this. We had a handful of people apologize for not having money. And we're like, don't worry about it. Because folks were so generous. They were. Yeah.
Well, if I don't know what Ryan's background is, but if he has the same background as me being in sales, I would have said, well, do you have your checkbook?
Yeah. That's right.
We'll take checks today, no problem. Not credit cards.
Yeah, indeed. All right, other thoughts, and then I'll segue into my little summary. Yes, go, Barry. Sorry, Bob.
I was there towards the end, and I was at the end of it where the people were loading stuff up, and there was a little grousing from the people that worked for the lab people. We didn't know there was going to be styrofoam or electronics, and I didn't really buy that. But that's one thing they complained about. Now, the other thing is there was so much styrofoam. We filled up a dumpster of styrofoam, and so, you got to put that in your checklist next time going, we're going to get a lot of styrofoam,
Yeah. And that's a good, this is a good opportunity for me to fill you in on my heart attack moments. But go ahead, Linda, you want to say something?
I just want to say, I think an award needs to be given to that audiologist that had the box of the batteries. I think
Elio.
That needs to be a prize for something.
Yeah.
He's my neighbor, and I asked him, I said, how long did it take you to fill that box up? And he said, well, that was about 2 years. Before that, he used to contact a company in Colorado. And he said, if he had waited and we weren't having this event, he'd have to ship it there. And he said, it would have been a very expensive proposition for him to ship it to Colorado, because that box probably weighed close to 100 pounds, I would imagine.
Wow.
But he was very pleased, and he said, I can't wait till next year. I'll have more to go, but not as many, but still have plenty more. And this is something that brought up the idea that we could potentially, be maybe a little bit more aggressive with some of the companies in the area that have hazardous waste, that instead of putting it in their own dumpsters, if there's a value for us to pick it up from them or for them to bring it over to us. Now, I know we get charged for it, but again, it's a public service.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been, so I'll try to summarize this as best possible. For the last 3 weeks, I've been sitting in on a virtual conference from the Recycling Partnership. And I've sat in on at least one workshop each week on a variety of things. And a lot of it was just trying to get a better handle for me personally, and then to share with this group on the opportunities for recycling that are coming down in the state. So from a state legislative perspective, and also from a federal legislative perspective, there is, for many obvious reasons, a huge growth in support and funding for recycling. And so it's a long way to stay tuned. There's a number of good grant opportunities out there that we could pursue that I think would make these and other similar type of activities either fully funded or a private-public partnership agreement with Rotary, say, for example. So stay tuned, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. So I'm going to segue into this because it's still household news. I sent you this fun little summary document yesterday, and I wanted to run through it because this is what I've tried to be very good about communicating with the 3 municipalities regularly, not too often, but enough so that they know, number one, what we're up to. Lastly, we were asking for funding. This time I'm going to go back to them and say, okay, we just had this couple of awesome events. So here's what I think we should be doing next. Or here's what we as a committee think you should be doing next. So it's basically the 5 pages of narrative. I'm on the first page. And I wanted to, rather than just focusing on household hazardous waste, I really wanted to kind of highlight that which we have done, because we've already been kind of on steroids already this year with the number of things that we've gotten done. And all of that is, of course, because of you as a crew. So in that first table, just the donations that we have received from the various sources for these specific events. So the Household Hazardous Waste Day, you can see we got $23,423.65 in donations for household hazardous waste. And then the municipalities have chipped in for the Back to Basics mailer that went out at the end of April. Thank you, Rana. The battery bucket subscription, which Peter Stanislawski and I will be initiating next week. So I'd love to get that going as early as the 1st of June if I have any luck. I'd love to have those battery buckets out sooner rather than later. And then $1,500 in total for the purchase of reusable bags, since we're trying to encourage folks to move away from the plastic bags. And as the COVID restrictions ease up, it'll be easier for folks to begin to use those reusable bags, but we'll have our fun little logo and we'll be ready to go. So we talked about the backyard composting, and you'll see later why I'm putting this in here, because I'm trying to put a bug in the municipalities' ears about composting. But then I move on to the Household Hazardous Waste Day, and I'll just kind of run through this for you all. Of course, we had a great day, and drug and lab disposal was awesome. We had 270 vehicles come through. I think I actually had, I think it was, by the time the signups were said and done, I had a plus 23. I had 36 people back out. So I had 300 and some people sign up, and then, people were canceling and others were joining. And then we had people show up the day of, but by the end we had exactly 270 vehicles. As we talked about before, the average wait was 7 minutes and the longest wait was 16 minutes. And then you can see the municipality participation. We had 23% from the city of Douglas, 29% from the city of Saugatuck, and 45% from the township.
Wow.
I have full intention to go back to the township and
Wow.
talk to them about participation financially. And then we had another 8 people sneak in from various sources, and I just didn't have the heart to tell them, no, you cannot participate. And they were forever thankful. So, we'll just take that with a grain of salt. We had a huge number of volunteers between the Rotary Club, all of you, of course, several church folks, the fire department, fantastic. I did get great comments. People loved when they were leaving out on Blue Star that there's the fire department waving, wishing them a great day. And I, talk about putting the fire department in such a great position. Usually it's an emergency or they're telling people no. And at that day, it was just, everybody was happy to be there, including the fire department. So it just helped, put them in such a good light. We did have the deputy from the Douglas Police Department sitting there. And then I know Janelle with the Allegan County Sheriff's Department was zooming around from time to time. So the fun stuff, which you'll understand why we have no money left. We received a total of 27,111 pounds of material.
Wow.
This is what happens when you don't do an event like this for 13 years. So, that was the big one. The biggest item, of course, was 7,504 pounds of electronics. Now, back to the comments. Drug and Lab did know that we were going to collect electronics, and they did know that we were going to do styrofoam. Somehow that message did not get shared with Doug, so who was the main guy with Drug and Lab disposal. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So we collected it. They took it, and they ended up giving us a nice, instead of 88 cents a pound, they charged us 60 cents a pound because they were able to turn around and sell some of this stuff. So they got some money on it. In the future, there's some grants out there for e-waste collections only. I think that might be a way to go to apply for a grant for e-waste collection. And I did learn that DART does support styrofoam collection events because they basically break it down to the small styrofoam pellets, but I have a note about that to get to. So stay tuned on that one. So anyway, a lot of material. Obviously the biggest items, of course, electronics and oil-based paint. I had so many people ask me about paint. And of course, batteries. Barry left us, but that's all Barry's fault. And then the doctor, the audiologist. And then as we discussed at lunch that day, the most unique item dropped off was cyanide. So that was Father Fred Hamlin. And I said to Father Fred, I said, I don't know why you might need the cyanide, Father Fred, but is there something I should know? So he just laughed.
What did he say?
I'm sorry?
Did he say what he used it for?
No, he didn't. He just smiled. I left it at that. So as I mentioned about the total raised from private donations, Patrick, one of our very own, was extremely generous. Thank you so much. The Rotary Club was a huge help. They had originally allocated $5,000 and had a matching grant of another $5,000. And because the Rotary is a 501c3, the various churches could donate to Rotary So the Douglas UCC pitched in 2,500. Trying to think, St. Pete's, I can't even remember. I had a sheet somewhere of how much, but basically the churches got them about 44, maybe 4,250 or something like that. And then Jim had received $1,000 anonymous donation from one of their members. So they were able to get to their match plus a little bit more. The fire department chipped in 1,000, and then you can see that what the municipalities did. So, in addition to all this, what I haven't included here is all the stuff that cost money. So the T-shirts, the banners, the hats, the flyers, that you name it. With all that, plus the bill from Drug and Lab, I sat there with a $2,700 deficit. I'm having a heart attack. It's like, oh my God. So the first person I called was Jim with the Rotary. And I had this list of who I was going to go through, Jim and then the fire department. And so I talked to Jim and he's like, Garn, let me see what I can do. I'll get back to you. And then I called the chief. The chief's of course like, tell me what you need. I'll make it happen. So, but within literally 2 hours, Jim came back and said the Rotary Board has fully approved another $3,000 for your effort. And he dropped that check off at City Hall Monday. So thank God, because I was literally having a heart attack. And I wasn't sleeping, as Ronna and Daniel know. I was like, oh my God, they're going to fire me and I'm not even like on salary or anything. So, lessons learned, the electronics was a killer. We would have been fine without the electronics. And my takeaway is to either get us the supplemental grant or do a separate e-waste or not accept electronics, which will upset everybody, but we'll figure it out. So we have $168.49.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So then to follow up on that, I'm on page 3. Jim offered and Daniel and Ronna helped. They put together a follow-up survey that was sent to everyone who signed up to participate and the volunteers. And so we had 156 individuals complete that survey between this past Friday and I think it was, what's today? So Monday, late in the day Monday. So it was a great response. And overall, I mean, not surprisingly, it's right in line with what you all were saying. People were so appreciative. But there's some really neat information here that I want us to kind of hold on to. So first, most of the folks responding were 50 or older, mature and wise in their age. 33% live in the city of Saugatuck, 23 in Douglas, and 43 in the township. So a good balance of response. As Jim says here, the event was an unqualified success in terms of participant satisfaction. He was really excited about this overall score on the willingness to recommend to friends and family being a 98 out of 100. I didn't include it in here, but he says even places like Disney and USAA don't get these high of ratings, so he's just beside himself. Let's see. And then the overall measure of satisfaction was a 4.7 out of 5. There's a great demand for a regular repeat of this program. Fully 86% of respondents are very interested, and another 9 are somewhat interested. But just 86% alone being willing to do this again is it's a really good go ahead. And then we get into the fun stuff that I think kind of matters for us. Respondents were willing, on average, to pay $4.50 a month for one annual household hazardous waste spent every year, basically $54 a year. Now, mind you, this is a biased survey because these are the people who are participating.
Yes.
That's something to keep in mind. There's also a demand for twice monthly curbside pickup of non-hazardous recyclable materials. And then respondents think that an extra $4.50 a month is a fair price for twice monthly recycling. Now, mind you, as an aside, if we went to twice a month pickup, it would only be $2.50 a month with Republic. So, and then lastly, however, it's important to note that most respondents are somewhat confused and frustrated by current recycling services, that it is generally not clear what's allowed and the frequency of service is inadequate. We've been hearing this from the very beginning, and it's why we came together as a committee. So, but I don't think anybody said anything about yellow bags, which is really good, because I remember our first meeting and we were all fussing about yellow bags.
Darn, was there a way for the data to be, the level of confusion to be figured out if that was from the township?
Yeah, I'll ask Jim. The survey, the level of Survey Monkey that he has, he's able to do crosstabs. So
Okay, because I would be
Daniel,
very
remember
interested
that.
to know
Daniel,
that.
go make a note of that, will you please? Okay, yeah, that actually is, that's good. So
Because I would be surprised if that did not stem mostly from the township, but if it's stemming from either of our cities, I feel like I would be surprised, but
yeah.
it would be important to know, I think.
Yeah, so since I sent this out to you yesterday, I think I sent you an updated one today. What I added in this summary of projects was our mailer, because I wanted folks to be reminded that that mailer had gone out. So stay tuned for an updated, I don't think I put it in here. Stay tuned for an updated document, because I wanted to be sure. I heard a lot of great comments about that mailer, and thank you, Rana. She did literally all the legwork on this, and the municipalities paid for it. And I talking to Peter on Monday at the city offices. He's like, wow, I wish they did this down where I live. It was just something that I think people will utilize as a resource. And then with the handout that we had for folks when they came in for the Household Hazardous Waste Day, which I have since, Demetria, posted on the Facebook page. We got a lot of good comments about that too, as far as where folks can take items after that event. Linda, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I have a question, and I talked with Rana about this earlier. First of all, I love this. Just for those who put it together, fabulous, very clean, very to the point. And I just, the whole glass thing just bothers me because this little thing says, under glass jars and bottles, no mixed materials, no broken pieces. Okay, so I don't purposely break things and throw it in the recycling bin. I put it in whole. And then I, put it out for the recycling to pick it up. And then the machine picks it up, dumps it over top, it falls in. I'm going to guess it breaks. And then as they go from house to house and more, it probably breaks further. And we have little shards, little pieces of glass. So is there a way that we're supposed to put the glass in there? We're just supposed to let it break and then be told that it's compromised because, or contaminated because there are shards when it didn't start out that way. See, where I used to live didn't affect me because I was in a condo, but my mother had recycling and she had bins about the size of those storage bins. And one was for paper, one was for cans, cleaned out, of course, and one was for glass. And they would pick it up that way. But I don't know in what order, together, whatever, because I wasn't there. But does anybody know the safe way to put this in your container so that it doesn't contaminate and then be useless?
Mark's got his hand up and Barry does then too. Okay.
I understand your frustration. And I think, just thinking about this, the only way you could safeguard it or try to keep them from breaking is if you collect them and you put them in a box and then you put that box into your bin and they dump it. But that's not going to guarantee that glass is not going to break. So the only way of guaranteeing that they get a clean load and they get clean recycling is if it's collected separately, it's put in a separate truck or section of a truck, because I think there are trucks that allow them to dump materials into honeycomb kind of partitions within the truck, if you catch my drift. Now that all translates into money.
Right.
Can I jump in real quick? I think the problem is not that it breaks. I think that when you throw it into your bin, then people are putting shards of glass. It's almost like they don't collect shredded paper, but they'll take whole paper, even though they will eventually shred it. I don't think all of that's falling out the bottom and they're not recycling.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when that truck gets emptied, they have to put that, the paper goes through a shredding and compacting machine. And what can happen is those shreds of glass, pieces of aluminum cans, plastic, whatever else is collected, gets put into that bale, and now that bale is contaminated. The buyer
Unless
of the
it's,
bale is not.
unless it's sifted out.
What's that?
Right.
Sorry?
Unless the sifter. So, okay, so hold that thought. Barry, go for it. You're on mute, bud. There you go.
Thank you. You know, that's a question for the Republic guy.
Yeah.
We can speculate all day long about, you know, how to do this or that, but if they're accepting glass, they've had this challenge.
Yeah.
And-
So I've written this down. I actually,
Yeah.
you know, we haven't seen Jack in a while, and I think it would be lovely to have Jack come back to us, because we actually have some good news for Jack. But we can ask him about glass.
Yeah.
We can ask him about this flipping paper, and we could ask him about styrofoam. I mean, there's a couple things that I would, you know, what's interesting is, you know, with Republic Services, or I think with any, you know, hauler, you know, the folks who utilize the service, you're only as good as what you know. And I don't think they intentionally don't educate people, but they themselves, they won't improve what they're doing until people start calling them on it and asking. But people just don't know, or there's not a kind of a collective way to ask. And now we have this committee, which I think Jack really actually enjoys this crew, because we ask good, rational questions. So what I have a note here is see if we can have Jack come back, if not next month, then the month after, but I'll try to get it for next month. And we can get our questions queued up in advance. But I have here glass, paper, styrofoam, you know, and we can add to it. How's that? But Barry's right. I mean, we can speculate. You know, it's interesting, because back to the glass, an observation. I spend, you know, before COVID, I was able to go over to Germany at least once a year, because I have family in Germany. And boy, talk about being like religious about their recycling. You know, my mom's cousin was always like, every year reminding me, this is how you separate everything. I'm like, yes, honey, I know. But their glass, so you'd have containers, separate containers. And Linda, you would pop the glass, clean bottles, mind you, lots of clean wine bottles. You would pop those into the glass container, and sometimes they would break, but there was a glass container. It was just for glass. You know, and but I mean, they are years ahead of us on recycling, years. I will add, and digress a little bit further. I was down Pensacola Beach, last month? They don't recycle, and it was absolute killer. I mean, it was a killer for me. The friends that I was staying with who are from Michigan, they don't recycle, and they're, you know, you're throwing everything away. They're like, oh my God, Garn, we have like garbage after garbage after garbage to throw out. And I said, so it's still, you know, we're good in Michigan, but still in the United States, we have a long way to go in some areas.
But even in Michigan, there's different levels of good.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So, okay. So we're going to hold that thought. We're going to visit with Jack, but I'm going to continue on because, just a quick
comment. Yeah. I conversed with Jack via email back about 3 weeks ago to do the follow-ups on the changes that we could put on our placards, et cetera, et cetera. And his 2 or 3 word responses got the job done. So we're going to do that every quarter. But this is a real good example of what you were saying. You know, they're going to just do the 3 word responses unless they get pushed. And it just occurred to me, a perfect example of it is, yeah, okay, we'll do it every 3 months.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to push it.
We are, and we have an expectation. And you know, the good thing is that we do have a little carrot now. Because our contracts are up for renegotiation next year. So we have a little carrot, which is a nice place to be. It puts us in a position of a little more power than we had before. So, you know, and we should utilize that and use it to our advantage. So,
and especially since we've been doing stuff to try and make it easier for Republic.
Absolutely. So on to page
Karen?
4. Yeah, go ahead.
I just a real quick question about the D&L company. Were they, did they have any comment about the quantity that was collected? Did they consider the collection day a usual day or beyond their scope? I don't know if you have information about that.
Well, I talked to Terry and all she could say is, holy moly, did you all have a lot of stuff? So it's
Okay.
like, yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I can circle back around with her. I'll ask her. That would be interesting. But Doug has done these events for years and years and years. I will say that their feedback to us on the organization, they were so appreciative. They really appreciated that people signed up in advance and it wasn't just a mad free for all as far as people signing up. They had event the week before, over on the east side of the state. And excuse my language, they said it was a shit show because the people just came. And so you would wait in line 45, 50, 60 minutes because people were just showing up. And it was just chaotic. They hadn't really received any instructions. And so while I had some people fussing that I'd sent them too many emails, especially, participants, I was like, I'd rather send you too many emails than not enough and you not know what to bring. So, Drug and Lab was very appreciative of that, except for the electronics and the styrofoam. They did.
Well, we averaged 100 pounds per car.
Yeah.
And obviously there were some cars. I saw one gentleman that had probably 50 gallon buckets of paint
in
his car that were, fortunately for him, were all oil-based paint. He had just sold his house and the previous owner was a designer.
Right.
So all that paint was collected over a number of years by that designer versus other cars that had maybe just 2 pounds, 5 pounds worth of stuff. So it's hit or miss.
Right. Exactly. And, you'll appreciate it. So Bruce Starring, Barry, with the Star Saugatuck, former owner of the Star Saugatuck. And I think I'd shared this with you all. It was hysterical. He calls Scott at DPW and then Scott calls me because he has no way of knowing how to answer this question. Bruce had about 110 gallons of old gasoline. Could he bring it? And this was one of the first questions I got. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what this is going to be like. So I called Drug and Lab Disposal and Terry's like, well, sure, we'll take it, but he needs to pay for it. So Bruce and I we negotiated a deal. I told him, it's 6 pounds for a gallon of gasoline. It would cost about $600 bucks, blah, blah, blah. Let's split the difference. Sold. No question, nothing about it. So he calls me the day before and to make sure it's still okay. Yes, we'd agreed that he'd show up early so they could just transport it from his pickup to the truck. He shows me the receipt. He paid the full amount. He wrote a check to the city for the full amount, which I was like, oh my gosh, Bruce, that's not what we agreed. He goes, doesn't matter. I'm just so happy that you took it. I'm like, okay. So it was, it all worked out.
Great story, Garnett. Great story.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mark.
Drug and Lab is from Plainwell, aren't they?
I'm sorry, who?
Drug and Lab.
Yes, Plainwell.
Okay,
Yes.
I had taken some old kerosene to them before I moved 4 years ago, and they were the only place within 3 counties that would take it. And I didn't have very much.
Yeah.
But it cost me about $150 to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in the end, did we ask enough from people? Probably not. But I'd rather have been able to do this like we did it than to have some folks decide not to bring stuff because it was outside their budget. So, moving forward, we'll have some other options, but I felt, and you all heard it like I did through the line. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for doing this. And I've heard it, since then. And the chief is just beside himself. He's just over the moon about this. He saw it all coming out and he's just so happy it's not sitting in people's garages and basements causing fires. Or making fires hard to put out. So with that, what I am trying to do then, moving on to page 4, and I'll try to wrap this up really quickly for you all. I want to use this opportunity to sell. Oops, there you go. I want to use this opportunity to begin to flip a switch in our municipalities' heads and to get them thinking forward about things. So obviously the recycling, there's a great need for it. And I think if we were to do this once or twice a year, we would always have a great response. I talked to Rebecca, what's her last name, Daniel? Rosemary
Graham.
Rosemary Graham with Allegan County Resource Recovery. She had been a guest of ours last year, you all may recall, because we were thinking about, what would it take to get back under contract with Allegan County to do recycling. So I actually had a chance to talk to Rosemary last week, and she was very good, and it was after our event. So, and she'd heard about how it had gone. The word gets around, and so we started talking about, what are our options reasonably as a tri-community endeavor to continue to increase our recycling rates by our constituents. And these first 3 were basically her suggestions to me after a long, convoluted conversation. First, obviously, renegotiate the single hauler waste and recycling contract that we have to include a twice a month recycling pickup and $1 per month household hazardous waste day surcharge. That, as we'd also discussed, Barry and I had a great conversation with Al up in Laketown, and this is what they do. And it was all because of a renegotiation of their contract. So that's a possibility. It's coming. Second, participate in Public Act 69 of 2005. And I included the information here because that's something that our County Board of Commissioners would have to approve us participating. My understanding is that the City of Saugatuck was one of these municipalities and then discontinued the contract primarily because at that time it was just a drop-off location. And as I've shared with you, people abused the living tar out of it, and it just became incredibly difficult to manage. Since 2005 or whenever it was that we ended our contract, we've learned a lot of things. And I think there's some things that we could do as far as a management perspective, but it might be something to have Rosemary come back and talk to us specifically about PA 69 and how we begin that process. Because, even though she came and visited with us, I remember being totally overwhelmed at the time because this was last year and we're all still trying to figure out which way's up. Now we have a whole lot more knowledge. And I think having Rosemary join us and talk about how we make PA 69 a reality would be worth our time. The other thing she mentioned is that you could pass a local millage or a special assessment for recycling. Now, the local millages apply to your cities, and the special assessment district would apply to the township. By doing this, you'd be able to keep your funds, you collect them and manage them locally. It's assessed on your winter tax bill, and I included a link there. So, these are things that millages and such are difficult to get past. PA 69 could actually be done through a resolution through your elected body, and people, and this is going to give you too much information, they could actually opt out. So let's say, for example, back to PA 69, City of Saugatuck the council decides to pass a resolution to add a surcharge onto the winter tax bill in the amount of $50 and for twice a month recycling and a once a year household hazardous waste day. The city council approves it, and then me as a constituent, I could say, I don't want to participate. I could opt out. Millages, if you vote on it, it sticks. So anyway, that's something to percolate on, stew on, fry some brain cells.
Vern, I have one little caveat.
Yeah.
So at PA 69, there are two, I don't know what you would call it, two forms of it.
Mhm.
The one can be approved by council alone.
Yeah.
And that's the one that constituents can opt out of.
Yes.
However, if it is put on the ballot and residents vote for it, you cannot opt out of it.
That's exactly right. Exactly. And then lastly, number 4, I said, our options certainly are to stay with our current contracts and utilize the Tri-Community Recycling Committee to coordinate and implement recycling and household hazardous waste day events. We could just stay the same. It's always a possibility, but I at least wanted to put a bug in their ears and I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to share this with all the elected folks and visit them at a committee meeting or a council meeting or township meeting and run them through this. But I also took advantage of the fact that I added composting here. Jim has left us. I know he goes to pick up his kids, but and Barry can help me out here. We initiated on Jim's behalf. So I'm going to back up. So Wormies, their contract, their land lease in Jenison is up the end of October. They are in need of a new location. So the city of Saugatuck is sitting on 157 acres. And actually the city of Douglas has 17 acres. So Barry and I connected Jim with Ryan, our city manager for the city of Saugatuck, and Scott with DPW. And Jim has submitted a proposal to the city of Saugatuck. Mind you, that has gone on Ryan's plate, which is quite piled right now, but I know it will come up in our strategic planning session for city council next week. So in the meantime, feeling a little angst for Jim, Kathy and I connected Jim with Rich LaBombard with the city of Douglas and the possibility of utilizing some of their 17 acres over there off Wiley. So stay tuned. That might be what Jim's talking about. There are lots of opportunities coming his way. I included the Wormies link there for those of you who aren't familiar with it, but that curbside pickup, to make their lives easier, they would move from a curbside pickup to, you could just deliver and drop off your recyclables. For both the city of Saugatuck and the city of Douglas, this has the possibility to be a win-win situation. There's certainly a lease deal, and then there's a little bit of a revenue generation that comes from selling their dirt. So it's just a matter of time, and things don't ever move really fast in government, which is really too bad sometimes. But if I can, we'll try to get something done for Jim by the end of October, if not sooner, for them to have a location which is closer, because he lives here. He lives in the township, so it might make his life a lot easier too. So stay tuned. Yes, Barry.
Yeah, my concern there is, I'm very glad that you offered that you got him in the loop on Douglas. I was going to ask this question in the meeting, but I didn't know if you were ready to talk about it. So you're saying he's put a proposal to Ryan.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, one of the things is he needs electricity and water.
Yeah.
Which the airport has. I don't know about the 17 acres in Douglas.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
So two great options to get this guy into our community.
Yeah.
So I will speak at your public meetings, Garnett, if you need any support.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let you all know when that is. Yeah, actually, I don't see why he couldn't do both locations, quite frankly. And that might be what he's alluding to. This fills up his time big time to have two operations, but we have a large enough community to be able to, heavens, I mean, not just residential, but commercial. I'm sitting here on a business that needs needs a place to take its its food scraps. So
my concern there is the cost for him putting together his infrastructure.
Right.
Yes, we have water, and yes, we have electricity out at the airport.
Yeah.
But he may need two 40-volt or 220 volt. He would have to put in a transformer. So he's going to have some significant upfront costs to
Right.
get up and running in our community.
Right.
And,
So
they-
here's something to add to that, just to FYI. Each of our, and this is way getting into politics and weeds, because of the American Rescue Plan, ARP, our cities, townships, and villages are getting ready to receive a nice chunk of change. Every single one of them. Every one of them. The city of Saugatuck is getting ready to receive $94,000. And we are an affluent community. The township is looking at 6 figures. Douglas is looking at six figures. So this is a source of revenue that none of us ever knew that we would have, that is being encouraged to be used for infrastructure projects like this. So, and that's, for us in the city of Saugatuck, the timing is so perfect because we're getting ready to go into our strategic planning. What our, Barry knows, there are 1,000 ways we can use that $94,000. But I'm going to push hard for this one. So, yeah. How many of them will make us money? So
I'm in your corner, and I do vote in Saugatuck, so I would have a little bit of weight on that.
Yep, I hear you. Okay, and now I'm running out of time real quick. Yeah.
One quick comment.
Yeah.
This is kind of redundant. I apologize, but I keep coming back to Daniel's thought back, 10, 12 months ago about the marketing and being a full circle recycling committee or community. And I think this compost thing is absolutely critical to that, because it ties up the part of this thing that you can't do without composting. So I think he was right on the mark when he talked about that. And you remember that, Daniel?
Vaguely, I feel like I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I will tell you what's so funny is, and Barry knows this. He's been there. So both the city of Saugatuck and the city of Douglas, their Department of Works, Public Works. We have that yard and brush cleanup every year in our municipalities. Where do you think that goes? Out to those locales. And what Wormies does, especially with the huge amounts of brush and the trees and such, is they, oh my gosh, I forgot the word. They basically burn it down into a char. Biochar. Thank you, Barry. And that biochar there then goes into their organic material. So the thing that my light bulb, I was sitting in on the Douglas City Council meeting last Monday. And it's like, ding, ding, ding. They're getting ready to spend $12,800 to have all their brush and trees hauled off from that location to a location out in Fenville. I was like, oh my God, don't be spending that money on that. Put in a transformer, like Barry's saying, keep that money local. Don't spend that money. Keep it here. Use that wood and such and create biochar for Jim's composting business. So anyway, Patrick, you're right. It's all, and again, I feel like we have, I'm sure you all feel the same way. We have come so far and we know so much more now than we ever did. And, when we first got started, I'm like, oh my God, how are I ever going to do any of this? And now it's like, it's like the pieces are starting to fall together. And we have some really, really, really good opportunities to create some really good lasting change environmentally. And it's really very thrilling. So thank you. So I'm going to finish up this real quick because I think it's important. On page 5, grants. We have so many opportunities and just not enough time to go after a huge number of grants that are out there, sitting out there. I just got a note today from the recycling project saying, hey, Garn, we've been paying attention to what you're doing out there, and we think this grant might be something you should apply for. Of course, it's due like tomorrow, but there's so much out there, and this is where I wanted to appeal to this group. I need 2 or 3 people who are willing to sit down with me and start working on grants. I can't do it by myself. I just don't have enough time. I have a business that's getting ready to go into the summer season, but I just need some help. And we could probably get our hands on some really nice grants if we had a little concerted effort. So
I've never written a grant, but I'm willing to sit with you. My writing skills are good. I'm willing to sit with you and help you with that.
okay.
My wife has experience, but she doesn't have the time. And I can tell you, I've seen her go through the pain. Grants are very painful, and they have to be very, very specific down to the color ink you use, the number of copies, the size of the paper, the font. It's just incredible what some of these government grants are like. But you do it right, you get the money.
Yeah. I used to do grant review in a past life, and
would we have any money in the budget to pay somebody? Because I know somebody who has experience.
No, the answer is no. Tracy, go for it. I saw your hand up. You're on mute.
I'm happy to help.
Awesome.
That's what I do for a living.
Oh, well, hey, all right. Okay, stay tuned. We're gonna have a meeting. Woohoo! Yeah, Lori.
You're hired.
I'm pretty good at editing. I'm not good at rambling, but I can edit really well. So
all right. Okay, we got a critical group.
Also,
I'm sorry, Mark.
I can edit also.
Okay, Mark.
And Garn, my schedule's pretty open, so.
Okay.
I know yours is getting, and I don't know what Tracy's is like, but mine's pretty open, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine's getting right for the summer as well, but we can do this.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, with that, and I just finished, just to remind people, when I present to the municipalities of our opportunities for public-private partnership, I specifically put this in here because when it came out in the Rotary magazine, I jumped for joy. We have an opportunity to team up with the Rotary Club of Saugatuck Douglas to fund future environmental sustainability related projects. The Rotary Club International has recently adopted the environment as a new area of focus, and as a result, we will see potential funding opportunities for joint projects. It literally is in my Rotary magazine. I was so excited. So Jim and Rotary, and as you know, Jim has his hands on, it's nice. So I think we have a really good opportunity, especially as we pursue grants, to do some joint projects with the Rotary, which I think would be huge. And then that's it. I filled you in on the battery buckets and the reusable bags. Woo! How's that for a
Great meeting. Great
rocking
meeting.
and rolling, rocking and rolling. Let's see, where's my agenda? Really quickly.
We really need to encourage the businesses, at least in Saugatuck, to stop using the plastic bags, because I was at downtown yesterday.
Yeah.
I was killing some time waiting for a prescription. I went into a relatively new store, bought something, and she gave me one of those thin plastic bags, and on the outside of the bag printed was reuse, recycle.
Oh.
I said to her, that's false advertising. This bag is not recyclable because you can put your finger through it. She said, oh, I'll have to tell that to my boss. Well, that's the problem, because they don't understand. They just buy something thinking that they're helping, and it's not helping.
Yeah, and maybe it's as simple as we do the legwork for them like Rana did when we started the social districts in the purchasing of that compostable material. It's a little more expensive, but I will confess Isabel's is just as guilty. We use the plastic bags, shame on me, for folks that take their food to go. So I'm slapping myself. We need to fix that. But we'll have to help people transition away from the plastic bags. We made it in this country, we made it such an easy thing to use plastic.
Oh yeah.
I think we all, for the most part, as we educate people about how extremely bad it is and how it never decomposes, I think the more and more we educate people about that, we'll start to see a transition, but it'll start with us.
I have one other thing to add. Kelly and I have been working with the short-term rentals in town.
Yeah.
And so I did a draft letter that she was contacting Vacasa and also Bella Vita. And I think there was one other one because they have the most short-term rentals in town. And we're still kind of working through that because they have ones that are in Fenville and also in Laketown Township. And so they wanted to do a broad kind of like, here's the start of this, but the problem ended up being not everybody has consistent recycling. Like Laketown has recycling, but they have the yellow bags. So, and they don't have a list of what they can put into the yellow bags. So we're just kind of working through that. So it's just a quick update that we're in process, and hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks that will go out. And essentially for the Laketown Township and the Fenville municipalities, there will be a note on there that if those rental units are within those municipalities, that they should contact them directly, so that they'll be able to field the calls however they want to. But within the city and the township, the 2 cities in the township, then there will be instructions on how to handle that.
Okay.
Update.
Okay, good. And what I just wrote myself a note for next month. What I'd like to do is pull out our 2021 goals and revisit those now, so you can see that we're actually crossing some things off. We've done good. So next month.
And Garn, just in relation to the goals, attaching to that some numbers of what we think we might need to pull those things off, so that when we look for grants and we apply for grants, we are appropriately connecting the dots there.
Okay, very good. Yeah, let's stay tuned. We'll get this grant crew together, and that can be part of our kind of planning around that actual. Thank you, Tracy. That's wonderful. So for next month, I have a note to see if Jack will join us. I also have Ryan Heiss teed up to talk about moving to a full sustainability program. When he was the village manager up in Egg Harbor, they were I don't even know what the award is they just received, but a sustainable county in Wisconsin. It's pretty cool. For those of you who sat in on that presentation that he was a part of, that he shared with us, it really is kind of the next steps where we go from just a simple recycling committee, for lack of a better word, because we're not simple, but from a recycling committee to a full-blown sustainability endeavor. I think we could, again, lasting change. The other thing I wanted to ask you really quickly, and Lori, I see your hand, meeting in person. I'm fully vaccinated. I have access to a really, Isabel's, we all were there. Well, all of us who were as volunteers, but that nice location with the atrium, I could reserve and have available for a meeting with plenty of room if we are comfortable and ready to meet in person. So it's up to y'all. I'm ready. I'm as much as I've enjoyed Zoom, I am ready for people. Yeah. Barry's like,
I'm willing.
Okay. Lori, go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't able to sit in on the entire meeting that Citizens Climate Lobby did early this month, but they had a guest speaker who I ran into first when he was working for Howard Miller as their sustainability expert, and doing everything from getting them to cut back on lawn and make more, native species planting areas, and reusing packaging and accepting damaged and reusing parts from damaged different things. And now he's got Ken Freestone's old job with the city of Holland. And I'm thinking that if we wanted to move into the direction of full cycle sustainability, that kind of thing, he'd be a really interesting person to come in and have a presentation from. I can get you his name and contact information.
Okay. Or if you want to see if he's available in July.
Okay.
So we meet the second Wednesday of every month at 2:00. I'm all ears.
Yeah.
Okay.
In addition to having Jack, I think we talked about, you mentioned having Rosemary Graham back to a deeper review with us.
Yep. Okay. Yep, PA 69. That's right. We just have so much to do. All right.
So next month at Isabel's?
Yeah, let's plan on Isabel's. I'll see if I can get the technological assistance, and we could actually, for anybody who didn't, if Jack couldn't join us in person, but he could via Zoom, we have the technology there at Isabel's, so he could Zoom in and we could still have that conversation. So I'll see if I can get the IT guru young man to help with that, and we'll get that done. I heard somebody saying my name. I heard Garn.
It's me, Daniel.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this is too overwhelming right now, but I have all the original documents that Rosemary sent me about PA 69, including sample ballot language. Do you want me to send that to the group so we have a little time to digest it, or should I just sit on it for now?
Send it to the group.
Okay.
Send it to the group. Yeah, that's your homework assignment. That'd be good. Yeah, I think it's worth knowing. And if I can get Rosemary teed up, maybe we have a special meeting just around Rosemary. So stay tuned on that. Yeah, it's good. There's some good opportunities. So, all right. With that, there's nobody in the public. So, yes, hands up. Linda, did I see
I
you?
was just waving goodbye.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second, I got it. Okay, I got to do a roll call real quickly so we end this officially. I can't remember who said yes, so I'm just going through the list. Just say aye. Linda?
Yes,
Barry?
Yes.
Rana?
Yes.
Demetria? Say yes. Uh-oh. Did she say yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Tracy?
Aye.
Daniel?
Aye.
Patrick?
Yes.
Mark?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Darn. All right. See you next week or next month in person.
Yep.
Aye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Rana and Daniel are staying on. Let's see. Let me see here. Let me see if I can stop recording. Stop recording. All right. Yes, I want to stop recording. Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
everybody.
Hey. Oh, that was a busy meeting, but
Oh, good. You covered it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah.
I just had a couple things I wanted to run through real quick.
Okay.
And they're really fast. First of all, on the survey, the
Yeah.
sliding scale for the money was utterly confusing to me
Mhm.
because it went from 0 to 100, and then it said I was like, well, is that $3? And on the top it said 0 whatever to $5, and if you slid it, did that mean 100% for $5?
Yeah.
Anyways, when he said 450, I kind of wondered, do you know if
No, I have no
No.
idea.
no one
No.
knows? Okay, good. Well,
I
like
agree
to
with
know.
you. It was a
Daniel?
little confusing. What?
You know
Wait, say it one more time. Do I know what?
how that worked, that scale? I remember taking the survey, but I can't remember if that was $0 to $100. I can't
Well,
remember.
the weird thing was, what I think it was like 0 to 100% of a set amount of money.
Oh,
Percent.
yeah.
So if you went all the way to 100, it was only like $15.
Okay, well,
Oh.
it doesn't matter, but I skewed that because I was like, is that $100 a month? What do you think this is here? Anyways, totally fine. I just wondered, and I hadn't had a minute to ask you guys.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. The first question, if I remember correctly, was would you be willing to pay?
It just said how much would you be willing to pay? And that
Yeah.
fine, but then the scales were weird for me, but I would probably notice that next time. But
Okay.
and then on your number 4 recommendations, Garn,
Four
if we end up staying with the current contracts in the cities,
Yeah.
can you please add in there that the city should bear the cost of that?
The city or each
The
municipality?
municipalities should bear the full burden of the cost of the hazardous waste day, because I think that would if they think that, well, you are going to be fundraising for all of it every time, that's ridiculous. And then I think it might push them more towards being willing to have people pay the dollar.
Yeah.
I think it incentivizes them to push it back on the residents.
That's a
instead of
good,
them
thank you. That's a great addition. Thank you. Yeah, of course I should ask for that.
Okay, because you have done enough on that. So
Well, everybody, yeah, it's been a good team.
I'm just saying that fundraising piece was Yeah,
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah, I
So,
know. I didn't even go into the details with the committee because I didn't want to blow their mind. So-
No, it was a lot. And being on this side of watching you was like, if the city should take care of all of that, if they think that it's going to happen yearly. So either that, or I think it's great that each person pays $1. So it's great.
Right.
And then when I got Al Meshing's number or
Yeah.
contacted him, and I was really calling just to see what the deal was with the recycling in Lake Town because of the short-term rentals. And in my third sentence, I mean, he said, well, we use plastic bags, so everything's fully recyclable.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, I'm surprised you still use the yellow bags. He said, look, it's in our, now he must get it all the time.
Yeah.
He does.
And he said, it's all being recycled. And I said, okay. I mean, I don't know him from anyone. I said, okay, we just had the experience. I'm sure you've already looked into this. We've just went through the experience that if it's like it gets contaminated. And he was very irritated that I brought that up and said, like, where's your documentation? I said, oh, I didn't mean to upset. This isn't actually why I'm calling. I was literally calling because of the short-term rentals. And I just wanted to know, like, and I tried to shift the subject away. And I said, do you have like a list of what's acceptable so the rentals could know that, like if it's posted? And he said, we don't have anything. And I said, well, so like on your website, do you have anything at all that just says what they can put in the yellow bag?
Yeah.
And he said, no, not really.
Yeah.
And he said, do you have anything in writing? And I said, I mean, we just went through 3 years of it. I said, I assume you work with Jack Brown. He said, yes. I said, well, he would be your point guy. I don't know. And he said, no, I've talked to Jack and he's assured me that it's all getting recycled. And I said, okay, well, look, it was really nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I just like backpedaled out of that. But I feel like you know him, right, Garn?
Yeah, I met him for the first time with Barry, and we had a really good conversation with him about household hazardous waste and the contract. Now, Al is a good old boy, and
okay,
yeah.
You don't even have to finish your sentence.
Well, he's not going to do any more than,
okay.
He's a manager. His plate is so full.
Yes, I'm sure.
He did say on the conversation with Barry and I that they get so many complaints about Republic Services.
Yeah.
So many complaints. And he's tired of it. He's so tired of it. If there were an alternative to Republic, I think you would find most municipalities ditching them just because there's just so much frustration. You can't get a straight answer. They tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, I just thought I'd say that it was kind of an uncomfortable moment there for me.
No,
like,
that's okay. He really is a good guy. He actually had a lot of good information for us. So,
okay. And I thanked him for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and on the actual reason I wanted to hang out here for a minute was I have spent literally the last week getting in touch with this woman from Paper Gator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the short story is, Ingrid at the new library was I remember her saying she was going to contact them. She contacted them maybe about a year ago to see if they could put it in their
right.
parking
They're
lot.
non-for-profit. Yeah.
And basically what happens is she said they had to stop right in the tracks because of the city ordinances. And I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, this is the real abbreviated story, but she basically said their pickup, because they go to the farthest location and work their way back to Grand Rapids, there would be a pickup between 2:30 and 3 in the morning. And municipalities have an ordinance saying that it can't be before 7. But I said, well, how often is it? And she said, once a month. And I said, well, what day is it on? She said, probably for you, it would be on Friday, unless there's a problem with the truck or in case it's a holiday, but most of the time Friday. I said, well, tell me more about, like, is that where you stop? That was the end of the discussion. She said, yes. So I guess here's the overview.
That's weird. I need to see that.
So here's the thing. We would need to get 4 bins between all 3 of our municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She did, and I think that's doable. The way that it works is it's a 6-yard bin, and it basically holds 2,000 pounds of paper. So it's about 6 feet by 6 feet by 5 feet high.
Okay, I'm
And
going to stop you real quick. Can you send me, so I'm going to include that in here in this report.
Yeah.
Can you send me a summary of that, including the fact that what's preventing us from doing this is some kind of funky ordinance? Because I'm sure I'm going to sit there and my council colleagues are going to be like, what ordinance? What ordinance? I'm sure they'll
I'm
ask, what the
guessing
hell
it's
ordinance?
it may just be in Douglas. She said in the cities. So maybe it's Saugatuck, but maybe it's only Douglas. And the only thing I'll say about it is, I mean, I feel like if it's once a month and the people within 300 feet of whatever area it is, like I was thinking, what if there's one at the DPW, the Saugatuck? I guess part of the conversation here is, can we think of 4 spots that are visually accessible, public spaces, don't have houses around them, like the high school and school, there's too many houses around there. So I was thinking if it's at the library, and these are hypothetical, but if it was at the library, at the Saugatuck DPW, I don't know where it would be in the township, but somewhere that's like visible. I kind of thought the Shell station or something.
Yeah, it
but that's
has
too
to be
close.
with a nonprofit. When I did a little bit of reading with Paper Gators, it has to be a not-for-profit.
Okay, and you
location.
also, it can be fundraising, so it can be at a church. So I was thinking of like,
The Community Church of Douglas. There's
yeah,
no
if
houses
there's a
out
lot
there.
of houses there, no houses?
Well, not to the west. No. If you go down Wiley to the
Right.
lake, and the
Maybe on
community
the
church
far
is on the
side.
left, there's houses, whatchamacallit, Summer Grove
Right.
to the south, but there's nothing to the west.
And I said, what are your biggest complaints? Like, what am I running into if we end up doing this? And she said, the 2 things would be shredded paper, because if there's a wind, they do everything they can to not have it blow, but it does blow. She said, we ask people to bag it in clear bags if they can. If not, it does blow. So once a month you do have pickup. And also she said, you'll get complaints about the noise. And I said, well, I would, like, I feel like if we had a schedule, like these are the days they're coming, it's 2:30 in the morning, it's 1 drop, they're as quiet as they can be. I just don't, I mean.
So I have a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a topic for the next commercial record article.
I thought so. Yeah, go ahead.
Paper recycling. We'd love to do it, but here's the deal. Here's what we could do. But in order to do that, that means that once a month, there's going to be a beeping truck in the middle of the night. That's the thing that's holding us up from doing this.
For 3 minutes. I mean, it's not like he waits there for
A
an
hot
hour.
second. I mean, literally a hot second. So again, it's interesting because we have the opportunity to kind of put these bugs in people's ears now. So
yeah.
How do we do that so that it basically becomes their idea? They read this article and they're like, well, of course we want a paper gator. Why wouldn't we want a paper gator? I've always been looking for places to take my shredded paper. Why don't we have a paper gator?
And
So,
if we did that, then maybe we could have people go to the Facebook page and put their 2 cents in. Like, what do you think about that?
Absolutely.
I
That'd be
love that.
perfect.
That's a great
perfect.
idea.
Yeah, or we could ask Jim to do a survey monkey real quick, yes or no in favor of it type of
Okay,
thing.
the other thing is then I kind of wondered, because the composting was an issue with Republic. Does this become an issue for Republic?
Why is it a Republic issue?
Because when we were talking about house, like with Wormies, they're like, no, we have compost. But they don't take shredded paper. They'll take everything. They will take paperboard, like cereal boxes, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing. I'm tired of Republic dictating to us what we can and cannot do.
Me too.
I'm tired of it. And again, I'm not kidding. We are in a position of power right now. We are 1 year off from renegotiating a contract. They know that we're up to, well, they know what we're up to, and they know now we are smarter than we were, and we have some expectations. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, go shove it. You're not going to be able to do that. And we can write this into a contract. If they're going to insist on they're the ones recycling paper, great. Include in your contract with us how you're going to do this. And oh, by the way, you're not going to charge us any more for it. So Republic, stop being a Republican and tell us how you're going to fix this problem. I mean,
Yeah.
have an effing solution. So
Yeah. Okay.
sorry.
And then just as an aside, the they cover all, there is no cost. So I said, what if we don't meet the minimums? What
Oh,
if,
paper gator?
yeah, I said,
Oh, yeah.
what if like they want, basically they want 2,000 pounds per bin per month. And I said, well, I'd imagine in the beginning, either you're going to get a ton of it, like the hazardous waste, or you're not going to get enough of it because people don't know. I told her about the newspaper and she's like, oh, that's awesome. Because that's the hardest part, is getting people to know that it's there. But she basically said, whoever's doing it, she said they pay 1 cent per pound. So essentially you'd make $20 to $25 if it's full. And then she said it's kind of aggregated. And then there's a check twice a year that gets sent out.
Yeah, because
And
it's
so, I
fundraiser.
mean, it ends up being a couple $100 a year if they fill the bins, but they like there to be an incentive for them to do that to make it worth it for the trucks to come out. I said, well, let's just say it's been 8 months and we're not getting it. It's like 500 pounds per container. Then what? And she said, look, we want it to stay there a long time. But the truth is, she said, if it's not, she says, then we would work with you to maybe we can move it to a different location. Maybe it's not accessible enough. Maybe there's not enough of them. She's, enough people. She said, do you feel like you'd be able to do it? And I said, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the Household Hazardous Waste Day. We don't know. I remember being in Wayland for a COVID clinic about a month ago. Vicki and I were on break. We were back behind the school and there's a paper gator. There's paper. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I bet we could get Tim Travis at the schools to have a paper gator. So behind the high school and behind the middle school or elementary school. So that's Saugatuck and Douglas right there that are good
And
locations.
I'd love one at the DPW though, because it's really accessible for people driving by if they'd be willing.
Yeah, I do want to say there's a little stage fright on having a location right now because of, the people's memories here are extremely long. And even though it's been a long time since we had our recycling drop-off site, people still complain about it, how much it was abused.
Right.
And so there's a little bit of baggage on that one.
Okay. I wouldn't want to do it at
Steve.
both schools, but maybe one of them and then the other one. I don't know. Well, I feel like I needed, if you guys can shoot me back a list of like 3 places, just so I can kind of
I think
compile
you
all
do it
of
at
it.
the township hall. They got this big glassy area in the back, and
Yeah.
it's right next to a strip mall and a Best Western.
So yeah, let's just generate right now. Township Hall.
Okay.
That's for the township. Douglas, it could either be the elementary school or the community church. Elementary school.
Or the library.
Oh yeah. Well, is there room by the library?
Yeah, in the back.
Okay, library, that'd be cool.
And there's really there's no residents around there. So I just don't know.
Yeah. Saugatuck, the high school, or DPW, although they lock their gates, so that's the thing. They lock their gates at night. The other one would be the fire department, but so DPW, maybe.
Would they put it out front?
Maybe. We'd have to work that out with them.
Okay.
So there's 3 right there.
Okay, great. I think that's good.
Let's generate something for the commercial record, which, by the way, great article in the paper. It's just so fun. We're getting all kinds of coverage. It's just really excellent. But yeah, I think a fun one would be, hey, we want to try to do a better job of recycling paper. This is what we propose. Here are the roadblocks. What do you think? Have them, to send them to the Facebook
So
page.
let's say you have an ordinance in Saugatuck, can the city do I don't know, once a month waiver for that? Like, can they do that?
Can't you just go to the ZBA and get an exemption?
That's what I'm asking. I don't even know
Bizarre.
what the process would be. I will tell you that our zoning person is real by the book.
Yeah, I know Nick. Yeah.
Nick is
he's-
really,
Yeah, I'd rather talk to the managers, actually. I find them easier to work with.
so I would like to get things in place and then, I don't know the steps at that point. So I guess I'm enlisting your thoughts on that. Guy.
Yeah, so summarize all that and include that in there. Hey, apparently there's an ordinance, and that will prompt me to follow up with both Rich and Ryan and see what the hell this is all about. Sometimes people throw these ordinances, they use them as an excuse to do nothing, which
Yeah.
Both of our municipalities have really transitioned. Well, I should include the township too. All three of our municipalities have really transitioned from a do nothing body to a get stuff done body.
Yeah.
So we might find that there'd be like once a month. My God, it's not like we're killing anybody.
I thought she was going to say it was every other week. And I thought, oh, I don't know if we can do that. But maybe if we weren't collecting enough paper, then just come every other month or something.
Yeah. See, and that's what I learned about the styrofoam too through this DART. Rosemary was telling me that DART does styrofoam. Same kind of thing, only in non-for-profit locations, kind of like a paper gator. And I was like, oh, hail. But it might be kind of cool to have a paper gator and a styrofoam bin right next to each other. So
Yeah, because that styrofoam is just a killer.
it is a killer. I wish people would. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. We've got to figure this out. Oh well. Okay.
Okay. Well, as far as the article, so it's not this coming week; it's the week after. But then, should it be on the paper gator?
Yeah. Is that
Or do
okay?
you guys have another idea? Because it's May. I mean, like the season's starting, so really, it's going to be right before
Yeah.
Memorial Day, I guess.
That's
I
fine.
I was planning on doing the East Jordan company.
Oh yeah.
I have an email out to them. They haven't gotten back to me yet.
Okay.
But I mean, they have plenty of information on their website. The only issue, this way, part of what I asked them when I emailed them is that I was in Van Til's this weekend, and Van Til said that they have used East Jordan in the past, and they have been a drop-off site. However, East Jordan did not offer the pickup service. They wouldn't take any materials from last year, and they have not heard anything from them this year. And so that's concerning to me because I was like, well, are they still doing it for Meijer? Are they still doing it for the Home Depot? So I don't even know if it's a practical service at this point.
They really are not good at calling back, and maybe they're just very busy. But
Yeah.
So how about this? Why don't you see if you want to do it? Like, I don't want to put something out there just like you don't. If it's not like a reliable situation. I wish kind of in conjunction with that we had a pickup day, like on whatever, this Saturday of the whatever, a week, we'll meet you in the parking lot, whatever, and then there's 2 pickup trucks and we'll throw them in.
On their website, they said that they'll do that.
Yeah.
So you have to set it up with them, but they're open to doing that. So
Well,
that's
we have a location to do it. I mean, we have that lot, the Calico lot, that we can use until we start building a building, which is, later in the fall. So if we wanted to,
You know what you're doing there?
kind of,
Loosely?
yeah.
You don't have to say anything else. That's enough.
Well,
That's cool.
Yeah. One day I'll show you all the fun stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah, the price of lumber right now just makes
Oh,
everything
please.
cost prohibitive.
Yes. Yeah, I heard it's like 40% higher than ever.
Yeah, it's quite something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so then I will send an overview of that, and then I will wait to hear back from you, Daniel, maybe like do you think you'll know by Friday or Monday? Like by Monday's fine.
Okay, I say if I don't know by Friday that I'm not anticipating something coming back anytime soon. It's either they're going to be really quickly in responding or they're not.
Okay, maybe they're swamped because this is the season for the empty plastics.
It is. I emailed their marketing guy, so I'm hoping that, he responds because it is kind of a huge marketing opportunity it's just a plug for them.
I tried to get that tour, but they didn't. They're like, I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, did you guys see that email I sent you that I got from? Let's see.
I
Where's it?
read through it very quickly.
Yeah, from Franny.
Yeah, but the wheels were turning from Barry talking about infrastructure and costs. And you could throw me on that grant group. I just kind of wanted to see.
I was going to say the same thing. I've got it on my list here. At least for the first one, I'd like to be part of that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know how I am. I set up a meeting and everybody's welcome. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I thought it was interesting because first I thought, oh, this is just a form, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I think the city of Saugatuck would be a great fit. I'm like, oh. So I sent her a note and I said, I'd love to chat with you about this. If possible, are you available for a phone or Zoom call? She said, our team would love to connect as well. I would encourage you to set up time to talk with Megan Weeb through her office hours. She's the best person to answer all of your questions. What I might do is see if next Wednesday at 2 she's free for our regular chit chat time.
Yeah.
And
That'd be cool.
And then the 4 of us can have a conversation.
That'd be good. And if she can't do it at 2, I could probably do it earlier.
Okay.
So if she's like, no, 2 o'clock, she's booked or something, then that
Yeah.
anytime afternoon for me is good.
Let's see, what's next? That's the 19th. It looks, there's this fun little automated thingy. 2 o'clock. I'm taking it. Confirm. Name, Garnet Lewis. This is fun.
Don't you love that?
I do. Garnet Lewis, you're going to walk through me on this. G. Lewis at Saugatuck City.
That's exciting. Wow, that happened fast.
Oh,
Huh?
it's scary though, you guys. I'm like, I need 2 of me. I'm adding guests. Uh-oh. Notify up to 10 additional guests. Oh,
And by the way, while you're doing that, I did email Lori last week to ask her if she would look into all of it,
Yeah.
all the grants, and I never heard back from her. And then when she said she's good at editing, I guess that was her.
yeah. So Rana, give me Rana, what's your email address? Rana
At ronaalexander.com.
at Rana.
It's a lot of A's, a lot of N's.
No, Alexander. Oops, I spelt it wrong. Oops, I did a really bad job of spelling it wrong. Rana. Bear with me, Daniel. Alexander.com. And then space. Oops. Oh, God. Hold on. Rana. I have fat fingers. Yeah. Daniel, what's yours?
Oh, wait, but look at this. But I mean, that's fine. But micros is through May 19th.
That's okay. There's other stuff.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
another one.
It's
And
okay.
I think we could get the bigger one. I'm thinking we can own the infrastructure of Wormies, and they'll pay, and the grant will pay for it.
Yeah. All right. Daniel, spell your email address. Daniel, is it Daniel?
DeFranco, DeFranco, the number 7 at gmail.com.
Got it. Gmail.com. Okay. Done. So location, Microsoft Teams. We got to see her. I don't know what. Please share anything you will help prepare for our meeting. Oh. Let's see. What was it? A Franny suggested
Miles. Yeah.
Yeah, said that we chat about, what is it? Micros?
MICROS or flows FLOWS. And she thought it would be a great fit for either challenge.
Okay, I'm going to tell her we're all ears. We're all ears. We'll see if this works. Schedule event. Confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. All
Oh,
right.
that was good. Thanks for hanging out the 15 minutes. That was productive.
Yeah. But can we
All right.
talk about broken glass?
Oh God. Yeah. God
That
bless
email,
her.
by the way, that went back and forth 5 times.
Oh.
And I'm like,
Oh.
Linda, it's fine. Just put it in there. You're fine.
Yeah, and she saw me yesterday because she was over here picking up her mom to take her to dinner, you know, for her birthday, and she wanted to talk to me about glass. I'm like, tomorrow. So she gets it in her head. Boom.
I understand. We all just want to do the right thing.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, we do.
Oh,
So
you
it's
know
okay.
what? Somebody told I got to look into this more because there's a new manager, bottle shop manager at Modalis where Dustin works. And apparently at his old winery, they had a glass grinder and they ground their own bottles.
Wow, that'd be cool.
I wonder what that infrastructure looks like.
I heard that's rough going because the
Yeah.
glass is so tough that the blades can't keep up with it. It's very expensive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I heard that, of course, from Shelley Padnos. So maybe she meant if you're going to grind 7 billion pounds of it a day, but maybe
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
Okay.
interesting. All right.
Okay.
Great job.
Good to see you both.
All
See you
right.
next Wednesday then.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Bells?
All right. Isabel's.
Isabel.
Yep.
Good.
All right.
See
See you
then.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.